Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Columbus, Georgia. This is our Sunday service for July 26th. I'm Bill Harlan, your volunteer service leader, and we just listened to Whitaker Locke, our accompanist, playing Cuando el Pobre, which is a very appropriate hymn for today. Cuando el Pobre, When the Poor Ones, is a Latin American hymn, and it's based on a Latin American folk tune. It's number 1027 in our teal hymnal. And I'd just like to read the first verse to you. Cuando el pobre, when the poor ones, nada tiene, who have nothing, still are giving. When the thirsty pass the cup, water to share. When the wounded offer others strength and healing, we know we are with God. And that's kind of a theme that we're going to explore today. Our guest speaker is Gwyn Rush, and she's going to talk to us about energy equity, which is a topic under the broader subject of environmental justice, which UUs are very much interested in. We're coming to you socially distant on YouTube with my brand new pandemic haircut to help slow the spread of COVID-19. By the way, when it was 98 degrees recently, this felt pretty good. I have some quick announcements. We're going to continue coming to you exclusively on YouTube through August. We do have some plans to return the first Sunday in September, but the board is watching very closely the numbers in Columbus and in Georgia, and they haven't been looking all that great. So check our website often, ucolumbusga.org, for details. Next week, Rick Spradlin, our lay leader, will be the service leader, and he'll talk. And the week after that, John Mallory Land will give a talk. So that's 2 weeks from today. I also want to remind you that we have live events you can participate in Wednesday night, a Zoom video conference of our discussion group, and Zoom video lunch on Fridays at 12:30. Again, check the website, and if you need more information, just send us an email at uufcga.org. Brenda, our office administrator, is really good at getting questions directly to the people who can answer them. And along those lines, on a more serious note, if you are personally having some problems during this pandemic, and we know some of you are, please don't hesitate to reach out. Call the office or send us a note, send us an email, call a friend in the fellowship. We've already had some pretty amazing stories of people who have reached out to help our members and friends. As a matter of fact, we're going to hear about one of those later today. So stay in touch. We're still here, and we hope to meet together soon. So let's begin. We start our services by lighting the chalice, which symbolizes reason, tolerance, and freedom, and also respect, compassion, and love. We're a group of people with diverse views. We have Christians in our fellowships, Buddhists, Jews, a number of other religions. We don't really share a creed, but we do share a commitment to the 7 principles of Unitarian Universalism, which we traditionally review each week. So let's do that now. First, the inherent worth and dignity of every person. Second, justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. Third, acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations. 4, a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. 5, the right of conscience and the use of the democratic process in our congregations and in society at large. 6, the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. And finally, number 7, respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. One of the ways we proclaim the vitality of our fellowship is by sharing joys and concerns, and we have some to share this morning. They come from Joni Andrus, who teaches our meditation and Buddhist studies courses. She asks us to light a candle for Macy Edge, who died Monday, July 13th. She's the daughter of Joan Skalski. Macy and her mother, as well as her sister Jane, attended those meditation sessions and the Buddhist studies classes. So we'll light a candle for her. Let's also light a candle for Scott Siegel, Joni's nephew, who has COVID-19, but he's doing okay. We'll send him healing thoughts and prayers. And finally, also, let's light a candle for Pamela Forrester, also part of our meditation groups, who is awaiting to hear whether or not she actually does test positive for COVID-19. And I'm going to light a candle for all the rest of us, many of whom have been or are getting tested, because I think sooner or later we're all going to come in contact with a person who has contracted this virus. Another important tradition in our services is our celebration of life toast. There is no doctrinal significance to this toast. It's simply a warm tradition written by our very own Ed Wilson. So if you'll get your cup of coffee this morning, or get your glass of wine if you're watching this video another time of day, and you can toast with us. I'll read the toast. You have one line, and your line is, "We drink this toast in celebration of life." So I'll begin. We celebrate life with its beauty and its pain. We lift these cups in tribute to the achievements of human minds and hands, and in sensitivity to the frustrations of misfortune and heartache, not fixing blame or credit for the outcome of chance, sensing the risk, savoring the joy, sharing it all, knowing of the certainty of death, and remembering the value of each moment. We drink our toast of celebration to this time, to the future, to each other. Altogether, we drink this toast in celebration of life. And now it's time for our offering, which our new tradition is to do this electronically. And our members and friends will remember that every third Sunday of the month we give away the plate, and we didn't do that last week. So we're going to do it this Sunday. And our recipient is going to be Feed the Valley, and we often support Feed the Valley, and there's never been a better time to do that. And I have to say, just as a note, I'm so proud of this fellowship. We have really stepped up in this time of COVID. For the Equal Justice Initiative earlier this month, we raised $1,000. And I'm so deeply grateful and proud of you for doing that. So, how do you contribute? You can write a check and mail it to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Columbus, Box 698, Fortson, Georgia, 31808. Or you can log on to your free PayPal account and send a donation to uufcga@gmail.com. It's pretty simple. You can put a note that this is your third Sunday Feed the Valley donation. So while you're looking for stamps and envelopes or logging into PayPal, Whitaker Locke is going to play for us. Whitaker.
For today's offertory, I've chosen a Bach prelude from the first volume of the Well-Tempered Clavier. I chose it simply because it's energetic. Hope you enjoy.
Thanks, Whitaker. That was beautiful. Now it's time to learn about the concept of energy equity, which is under the umbrella of the broader concept, as I explained earlier, of environmental justice. Gwyn Rush is a 2018 graduate of Columbus High School, where she was also on the debate team. She's currently an international relations major at Agnes Scott in Decatur, Georgia. She's also the public relations coordinator for a group called MAYCOR, which works to promote the fair distribution of energy. And I'll let her talk more about that. But on some personal notes, most of us know Gwyn's parents. Her mother, Amanda Reese, is a member of the UU Singers. Remember the UU Singers? We used to get together and sing. Amanda is also a geography professor at CSU. Gwyn's father is David Rush, and he has become one of our UU technology gurus, and Lord knows we need a couple. David is a geographic information systems software developer. So coming from that family background, it shouldn't be surprising that Gwyn is interested in how the world works and how we might make it better. Gwyn joins us from home, where she and her family are following best practices for pandemics. So, welcome, Gwyn.
Thank you, Bill, and to the UUFC for having me. Before I talk about energy equity specifically, I thought I would zoom out, pun intended, to talk about what environmental justice is, which energy equity falls under. I see environmental justice as a pair of glasses. When you put those environmental justice glasses on to look at problems, you're not only asking, is this good for the Earth, but also, who does this negatively impact the most on Earth? On the solution side, you're putting on the glasses and thinking, we must make sure that we center those who are most negatively affected when we move forward. This movement was and is pioneered by Black, Latinx, Asian, and Pacific Islander and Indigenous folks. It centers the voices and experiences of those who are most marginalized by the systems we live under. Those who are low income, people of color, people in the LGBTQ+ community, the elderly, as well as young people, and those who are not able-bodied. When most people think of environmental justice, they think of places like Flint, Michigan, with water contamination, or Warren County, North Carolina, with toxic waste dumping. While these are certainly very important parts of environmental justice, there's also more to it. As Bill mentioned, my work is in energy equity, which is focused on the distribution of the benefits and burdens of energy production and consumption. This can mean a lot of things. For example, it could be talking about how the nuclear power plant in Georgia, Plant Vogtle, has caused higher cancer rates in Black communities near it. But what if I told you that energy bills were also an environmental justice issue? The connection may not be immediately obvious, but it is certainly there. We find this by looking at energy burdens, which is the percentage of income a household spends on their energy bills. The poorest Georgians are paying almost a third of their income on their natural gas and electricity bills. According to a study last year, home energy is a crippling financial burden for low-income Georgia households. Georgia households whose incomes are less than half of the federal poverty level pay 29% of their income on home energy bills. In Muskogee County, there are 7,228 households whose incomes are less than half of the federal poverty level. On average, they spend 27% of their annual income on energy bills. That's almost $1 in every $3 you earn directly going to heating or cooling your house and keeping your lights on. Further north, Atlanta has the third highest low-income energy burdens out of all the major cities across the country. This issue is not simply along lines of class either. The communities and households that are hit hardest by these energy burdens are also majority communities of color, specifically Black and Latinx communities. Many studies have shown that high energy burdens also create and reinforce generational cycles of poverty. So why does this happen? There are many different reasons. One is that in Georgia, residential energy rates are higher than those of 26 other states. Another is that in Georgia, the amount of energy being consumed by each household is one of the highest in the country, which makes sense if you think about how much of the year you're running your air conditioning. Another is that many low-income folks live in homes that are not very energy efficient, either because they're simply older homes, or they weren't built well, or a mixture of both. Another reason is that there's little incentive for landlords in Georgia to make their homes more energy efficient, meaning renters are particularly disadvantaged in terms of energy efficiency. Yet another reason is that many communities of color have historically and presently lacked the same financial resources and opportunities as white communities. For example, if someone's grandparents lived in poverty because of Jim Crow, then their grandchildren have less generational wealth to rely on, plus the many ways in which systemic racism still operates today. For many people, these factors, amongst many others, compound on each other to mean that they're paying a large amount of income on their energy bills. This problem, like many other problems, is also made worse by the current COVID-19 pandemic. Since March, unemployment levels have spiked, and for others, even if they can keep their job, their pay or hours have been decreased. At the same time, many people are spending more time at home. In essence, people's incomes are going down while their bills are going up. The challenges to achieving energy equity are very real and pressing, especially during COVID-19. Factors of age, race, class, gender, employment all compound to present real challenges to many Georgians, including in our local community. So after that very brief and broad overview of what energy equity is and what it looks like in Georgia, you're probably wondering what there is to do about it. The organization that I'm part of is working to be part of the solution. I'm the Public Relations Coordinator for the Metro Atlanta Youth Energy Corps, or MAYCORps for short. We are a Metro Atlanta-based, youth-led team committed to implementing energy equity programs that center youth leadership, racial and social justice, and local collaboration. As an organization, we're majority women and gender minorities and majority people of color. We focus on doing energy efficiency retrofits to households, meaning we focus on making adjustments, changes, and renovations to households so that they then demand less energy to create a livable environment. This can be things as simple as putting in LED light bulbs or as big as putting in good insulation throughout the home. This achieves two main goals. First, it reduces people's energy bills, but second, it also reduces greenhouse gases that would have gone into producing that energy, as a lot of the energy produced in our state is not renewable. Retrofitting can have other benefits as well, including health. If your home is better sealed, less pollutants can come into your home from the outside, which can be especially advantageous for people with asthma or other lung conditions. Another health benefit is that if your energy burden is lower, then you're less worried about paying for bills, possibly at the expense of other necessities such as groceries or healthcare. Stress like this can also have very real consequences on both our mental and physical health. These retrofits are also important for tackling the impacts of climate change. As temperatures rise, there is more demand for energy to make our homes a livable space. In Georgia specifically, we're already seeing more days over 90 degrees, which will only increase in the future. As demands for air conditioning rise, so will energy burdens, disproportionately impacting low-income Black and Latinx communities in Georgia. Earlier this year, MACOR was awarded a $10,000 grant to start working with the Community Center of South Decatur to do educational workshops on energy equity and to start doing retrofits on local homes. However, due to COVID-19, this funding was frozen indefinitely. In response, we've shifted our focus for the next 9 months on supporting young people with high energy burdens in Atlanta, as well as fostering spaces where young people can become advocates for energy equity. We've chosen this focus for 2 reasons. First, because with physical distancing, we can only really communicate with those who are more digitally connected. But the second reason is because we believe in the power of supporting and engaging young people in environmental justice. But what can you do about energy burdens and energy equity? Luckily, there are a number of actions you can take now and in the future to help advance our world towards energy equity. I've outlined 3 ways in which you can help. The first one is in the short term. There are a number of organizations that work to help alleviate very immediate energy burdens. In the Columbus area, the food bank at Feeding the Valley accepts items such as LED light bulbs on top of food, which can help families decrease their energy bills because LED light bulbs are more efficient. There are also a number of organizations that help people pay for their existing bills. A few of these organizations include St. Anne Community Outreach, Winton Neighborhood Network, First Baptist Church, and Focus in Harris County. These programs offer support that is very immediate and needed now more than ever for many families, but it is short term. In the medium term, secondly, you can vote in the November elections. While national elections are important, there are a couple places on the ballot this November for state positions that will really make a difference on this issue. This November, 2 out of the 5 people serving on the Public Service Commission are up for re-election. The Public Service Commission is the publicly elected institution that is responsible for making sure that people in Georgia get reliable, affordable utilities. However, they don't have a good track record of actually representing the people and often vote in the interest of utility corporations like Georgia Power instead. For example, they recently voted to increase energy rates across the board. They also voted to expand Plant Vogtle, the nuclear power plant I mentioned earlier that is poisoning surrounding majority Black communities. Both commissioners running have opponents who are much more interested in representing the people of Georgia, so make sure to pay attention to those seats as well as the bigger ones this November. Third, in the longer term, you can consider supporting organizations such as MACOR who help make bigger changes with long-term payoffs. We work to make sure energy bills are lower for years to come for individual households. You can find a link to our website, social media platforms, and newsletter subscription page in the video description below. If you've got a little money to spare, we are also currently fundraising to become a 501c3 nonprofit organization by the end of this year. Your donation builds the capacity of our organization to develop youth leaders and energy advocates, elevate the voices of young people of color, and build out energy efficiency programs. Getting 501c3 status will also open up a whole new world of future financial resources for MACOR, like more grant opportunities, so your dollar's value is really multiplied beyond its current worth. No matter what amount of resources or time or money you have to put into this, there are certainly ways that you can support an equitable future, and I certainly encourage you to do so. Thank you.
Gwyn, thank you. That was terrific. And right off the bat, I have at least one question, if you're okay to stick around and take some questions.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned a food bank, and could you say that name one more time? It wasn't quite clear on our recording.
Yes, the food bank is Feeding the Valley.
How wonderful, because Feeding the Valley is what we're giving away the collection plate to. So if you contribute to feeding the valley, you're also helping people that might be in some energy distress. The second question I have is, could you talk just briefly about how this group was formed and how you got involved with it?
Yeah, so at the end of 2018, I received an email from a fellow student at Agnes Scott who was interested in starting a student-led group to tackle the issue of energy equity in Metro Atlanta. She had heard about a group in Colorado, actually, named the Mile High Youth Corps, who does a similar model as we're hoping to do, where they work with low-income homes and do retrofits, and also engage the young people in doing the retrofits themselves. But she wanted to bring it to Metro Atlanta. So in late 2018, she reached out to me. I said, I know nothing about this, but I'd love to join, just because it just seemed like such an impactful thing to really be in people's homes and helping them reduce their energy bills. So I think there were 5 of us at the start. 2 people have since graduated and moved on, but 3 of those 5 people, including myself, are still involved. And we've grown to a team of about 15 people who are committed to this, at least on a part-time basis, in all sorts of different roles.
That's fantastic. And you can find out more at the MACOR website, is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Great. I have, it's of course our tradition to have Q&A, and after a speaker talks, and when we do it on YouTube, it's only the service leader who gets to ask questions. But I do want to bring in a member, Elise Leonard, who has a story that I think underlines the importance of the work you're doing. So if you'll bear with me, pause, and you can enjoy our meditation garden. I had kind of a boring background here, so I decided to step into the virtual outdoors.
It is a lovely space.
So let's welcome Elise Leonard, who's a member of our UU Fellowship.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you for joining us. And the reason I wanted you to join us after the service, Elise, because you have your own story of kind of an energy emergency. What happened to you this summer?
Well, I've had no AC at all summer. And I had not realized how living in a house in 91-degree heat inside while 98 degrees outside was affecting me. My thoughts got fuzzy. I lost my appetite. I was depressed and very lethargic. I was not sleeping from the heat. I didn't notice it at all. And it was my yoga class that noticed it, and it told me I probably have heat stroke or heat exhaustion. And had they not said something and helped me, I truly believe I wouldn't be here. But within 1 hour of their getting help for me and window AC units for 2 of the rooms, I felt my thoughts become clearer. I felt my appetite return. I felt less hopeless and completely better.
Elise, that's an amazing story. And what's really scary about this to me is that you did not realize this was happening to you. Your friends realized it.
Not at all. If I hadn't done Zoom yoga with the wonderful Judy Barnett from our UU Fellowship, I would not have had a clue. I have no idea how this would have ended.
Wow, that's amazing. So you have been able to cool off some. That's correct.
Yes, it's wonderful.
But you're also faced with a huge bill to get your central air back, and even though you live in a fairly small house, it's not cheap.
Well, the quotes have gone everywhere from $10,000, which is the lowest, up to $28,738 for the exact same thing. I quoted apples to apples, and that's ridiculous.
Well, yeah, that's amazing. And when you talk about energy equity, boy, when you listen to your story, you can really get a feeling for what that actually means. It's not just a question of comfort, It's not just a question of budgeting better. In 95-degree heat with over 80% humidity, air conditioning is no longer really a luxury, especially the way houses are constructed today. So that further underscores the importance of the work that you're doing, Gwyn, and we really appreciate your coming. We hope you'll come back to the fellowship. I know you're hoping to return to college in the fall. I don't know if, yeah, keep your fingers crossed, and returning to Atlanta, but you will continue your work. So I'll urge all of us to go to Feeding the Valley, because I didn't realize that they also performed that service. And then if you go to the descriptions of this talk on our YouTube channel, we'll have some websites that Gwyn has recommended. And we'd also encourage you to subscribe to our website, to our YouTube channel. It's easy, one button does it. And leave a comment. Elise, again, thank you so much for sharing that really moving story. And Gwyn, we'd love to have you back. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Thank you. We extinguish the chalice here that it might glow gently in our hearts. May it light your path as you leave this place. And please join me in our closing words. With unity of spirit, we go our ways, in universal fellowship, until we meet again. And Whitaker Locke will play us off with a hymn we all know, The Fire of Commitment. Whitaker, take it away.